You're probably wondering, what am I doing and what is his question? Not a good one to do, but this time frame is pretty decent. I kind of like it. We're going to stay February 3rd. No, February 4th or 5th through the 22nd. Okay, perfect. So on the Schwab chain, let's go to the 6th. So here's Kenneth's question. That's roughly 4 days. So this would be Monday. I think this was a Monday, February 6th. Yeah, it was a Monday, February 6th, so I chose it. Hold the 4th, add the 11th. Okay, so Ken's question was, when selling weekly covered calls, will there be any difference in selling the next week's strike? So let's look at, Schwab was at 79.86. Let's look at the 80 strike at 85 cents versus selling the 14-day strike, but closing the trade after 1 week in both cases. Okay, so my initial thought, without even looking at it, is that in general, it's better to sell the 1 week out in time option because you're going to see the more rapid time decay in these last 4 days. Whereas even 11 or 14 days out of time, it's going to be slower those first 3 to 4 days before it starts getting rapid into the 8 or 9. Here you have 4 days to lose 85 cents. Just as we talked about earlier with Lynn, the options that's twice the amount of time out in time, or in this case almost 3 times, is not 3 times the price. It's not even double. It's at 154. Let's go to the 10th of February expiration. Oh, wrong day. Drop down. Let's go to February 10th. So we're 85 and 153 for our 80 strikes. $0.03 buyback cost, which means we've decayed 82 cents in premium. Oh, I looked at the wrong one. My apologies. 53 cents because it's in the money. But what is the time value? 46. Okay, so it's 7 cents of time premium. I apologize on the 1 week out, Kenneth. So you've decayed 78 cents in your favor. 169. Okay, so that's actually 11 points higher, but remember, of course, 46 cents of that is time premium. So that would put us down to 123. I'm sorry, my apologies. 46 is the intrinsic value. So 123, 127 is the time value. You only lost 30 cents on the 2 week out option. You lost technically 85 cents. Here, let's compare the 81 because it stayed out of the money. See if that was any different for us. February 6th. Calls only. The 81, 49 cents out of the money call with 4 days left. So this would have been on Monday for Friday's expiration. 106. Okay, so we're at, I'm sorry, where were we? 49, excuse me. 106. All right. Now, going to our expiration day, the 10th. 3 cents. So we sold it for 49. Buyback cost is 3 cents. It's going to expire. So let's say we made the full 49 cents, Kenneth. 118. It actually increased in value. Now this is a little bit different. What are we seeing effect here in addition to the time frame? At the money bell curve. Because the stock moved up slightly from that 79.50 price, 79.60 price, up to 80.46. So the 81 is getting closer to at the money. Okay? Ernie did this testing when he did the weekly covered calls, in a sense. He did it against the 2 week, looking at 1 week, 2 week, and 3 week, and 4 week, monthly. He did the picks today, but he looked at 1 week versus 2 weeks versus 3 weeks for the weeklies, which one turned out best. He did do a little bit of analysis of closing the weeklies early, the 2 weeks early, and he found in this case that the 1 week out worked best with his testing with the structure that gave the best criteria. In my bull put credit spreads, I found the opposite. But you don't close them early. You hold them for 14 days. I found better returns over both testing and trading with going the 14 days out in time position versus going week by week by week. Because when you did have a bad cycle and all three positions took a loss, because you took that lower net credit up front, it was more of a negative effect into your position, Kenneth. But one example does not the market make. I understand that. But because of the expectation of the time value decay, and you know that the rapid time decay in the 2 week out option won't happen until you get to the last 3 to 4 days, 2 to 3 days of that expiration, means that you're probably going to see a higher profit over time just selling week by week by week. Even though you didn't collect more up front, you're going to see better time decay. If I sold this week, then I sold the next week's 83-cent one strike out of the money 82 call, or 78 cents, excuse me, you see that 78 cents decay rather than selling that initially at 106 and 2 weeks hoping that it expired worthless. 7 days to 7 days, we're not seeing it here, but that it could be because of the movement of the stock. Might have to do some more research on that. But Kenneth, I think the research I do is going to support more of what I just said. That's probably better to go week by week instead of selling the 2 week out, trying to buy it back in that first 4 or 5 days, because you're going to see more decay in your favor with the 1 week out series that you sold as opposed to the 2 week out, unless you hold it through both weeks. A similar discussion that we had related to this, but in a different strategy completely. Two different. Oh, no, not that search. I don't want to search YouTube. Two different. I hope. Oh, two. Let me just try 2 ways. There she is. 2 ways to trade a strategy, bull put credits. You can do that search there. In that case, there's Sean's comment. Let me go back though. Selling puts 2 approaches as well. I enjoy the little cat icons we had. But anyway, this video here, what it discusses is Jerry brought to me a discussion of he saw somebody else put forth a discusussion related to doing a 45-day out bull put credit spread, or 30-day or 45-day out bull put credit spread with a lower probability of around 75%, but closing it 10 to 14 days into the trade. He wanted to know, how does that better or worse than your approach of going 14 days out and holding it to expiration? And the answer was, of course, that they came out almost the same with less transactions, right? So to do the bull put credit spread 45 day out, I open the position, wait 10 or 11 days, and then liquidate the position. If things worked out the way I wanted, where theirs would have been closed for the profit target they were looking for, that means my 14-day out would have been expiring, or 11-day out technically would have been expiring. So 1 transaction, in and out, same result, if not slightly better by pennies, and not having to do 2 transactions and close it out on some 10, 11, 12, or 14 day, watching it for when the return is hit. Ease of use versus maybe a little bit more safety in your mind, but having to take more direct action. That's what I feel the same similar discussion is here with your discussion on selling 1 week out versus selling 2 weeks out and closing it in 1 week. Do we need to take on the extra action of closing it in 5 to 7 days when some profit levels hit, or just look to get the most time value decay in our favor by selling the 4-day out option only, rather than selling 11 days out and closing it in 4 days? I think that's the case. Like I said, although I don't have the direct statistics here, one example does not the market make, but we can see that with the Schwab positions when we started with that February 6th selection, and we looked at the at the money 85 cents 80 strike and the out of the money 81 at 49 cents for 4 days out, compared to the 154 and the 81 at 106. The stock was right at 80. 80 was at the money. 2 things we maybe experienced when we went to February 10th. I didn't check implied volatility, of course, but they're pretty low. The 80 went to 53 cents, but only a few cents of that was time value. Okay, so you still got about 78 cents of decay in your favor. And the 81 dropped to 3 cents from 49, so you made 46. Let's say it expired worthless, you made the 49. Whereas up here, 7 days still remaining, the 80's at 169. Okay, and that's, yeah, some of that is intrinsic, but it's really at 123. You only made 30 cents of decay. And the 81 went from 106 to 118, and it's still out of the money. That's probably due to the ATM bell curve swell. But in this one example does not the market make, but this is what I'd expect to see based on that other discussion we did for the bull put credit spreads. The other discussion we did on just selling naked puts, 2 weeks out versus a month, I think was the same discussion on that one. And we came to the same conclusion that it looks, if you're interested in time decay, your goal is time decay and maximizing return, it seems that selling 1 week out, leaving it open, is probably going to perform better than selling 2 weeks out and trying to close that 2 week out option in the first 4 or 5 days or so before the time value really kicks in, Kenneth, and works in your favor. Check your option chains. Check the performance of your chains over time, the 7 and the 14 day, and how they compare. I think you'll see the same thing in general. That is going to depend, don't get me wrong, on movements in the market and other scenarios, going from out of the money to at the money, for example, different things of that nature, changes in implied volatility. But on average, I think you're going to perform better and see better time decay in your favor, which is what it sounds like you're looking for, by just doing the 4 or 5 day out compared to selling the 14 day out position and trying to close it in 4 or 5 days.